supporting the existing political structures in Africa, which means that foreign aid is actively working against political reforms in Africa. And I truly believe that political reforms are very much needed all over Africa, not only sub-Saharan Africa, but also the other countries. Anyway, you talked about your organization. What, you wanted me to comment on that, whether you are on right track or not. I can't really tell you. I can tell you this. As long as you work in a no conflict zone, I think you're okay. I mean, you can certainly create good results for your organization if you work in a place where there is no political conflict, no war going on. Now, when you start working in a place where there is some kind of armed conflict, you will find that as an NGO, you will be part of that armed conflict, regardless if you want it or not. You will become part of the conflict. At least one of the warring parties will involve you in their efforts to win that war. I can give you a very, very simple example. When I was traveling from northern Kenya into South Sudan many years ago during the civil war that was going on, I came to the first little village in South Sudan where there were people living, and I happened to come across two young French nurses working for MSF, Médecins Sans Frontières, in that village, and they were, I immediately felt that I had to admire their efforts, because they were living under very, very primitive circumstances in that village, trying to do what they could do as doctors, as nurses. And I asked them, what does it look like here in your village? What's the main problem for you? You know, of course, as a Swede, I always focus on the problems. You know, we always do. So I said, well, what is your main problem here? And they said, well, let's be frank about it. They said, the main problem is that the SPLA guerrilla, they always insist on being treated first. They come to our little hospital, and all the other patients have to wait, because we always have to treat the SPLA soldiers first. And I said, how do you deal with this? I mean, what is your attitude? And they said, well, what can we do? You know, we have to be here because people are suffering. They're suffering from so many diseases. So what can we do? I mean, we have to, that's the name of the game. And that's one way how MSF also became part of the war in South Sudan. That's a very, very tiny example. I can give you so much bigger examples if you like. But I mean, if you work in a no conflict zone, no problem, fine. But when you start working where there's a war going on, the situation changes completely. And I think this is something that is that NGOs are very reluctant to talk about, because NGOs do work in conflict zones. And somebody over there said that there are not so many wars in Africa anymore. That is true. If you look back 15 years, there were so many wars being fought all over Africa. Today, much less. There is research going on about this as well. There's a rather famous economist by the name of Paul Collier. He wrote a book recently where he was trying to predict the next wars in Africa using economical statistics. And his prediction is that the wars reoccur in Africa on this kind of a 10-year cycle. So the fact that today is relatively peaceful in Africa is absolutely no guarantee for the future. And when the political turmoil appears somewhere, it always comes as a big surprise to us, because we don't know what is going on behind the curtains, so to speak, in Africa. Let's take Kenya as an example. Kenya has always been considered an extremely peaceful country in Africa, and then the Christmas 2008, I think, riots broke out, and it was very, very close to the civil war in Kenya. The same thing could happen anywhere. I myself can predict that there will be some kind of political or armed conflict in Rwanda, for sure. That country is incredibly unstable right now, although it tries to present itself as the most stable country of all African countries. And there are coups happening every now and then. The last one, the latest one, was the one in Niger, I think, and there will be more coups. So I'm rather pessimistic about Africa, and one reason for my pessimism is that we, the rich part of the world, are actively supporting those autocratic rulers that should be put on the historical garbage heap a long time ago. And I can mention names: Yoweri Museveni, he should go; Meles Zenawi, he should go; Mwai Kibaki, he should go. Most of those people should go and be replaced by a younger generation with a more democratic mind. That is not happening right now, mainly because those who are in power are enriched by the foreign aid. It's our responsibility to a large extent.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Linda Pohlman and Bengt Nilsson. Let's give them a big round of applause.